Right, welcome. We have been idle the last few weeks. Well, no, 2 weeks we've been on. We even got people in messages saying where's the next podcast? And I said we have a special guest.
Yeah, it was worth the wait.
Worth the wait. We know each other 10 years now, is it? It must be 10 years, Liam.
At least 10 years.
Og Griffin, head coach of SBG Cork. Mm-hmm. Munster?
No, Cork.
Cork?
No, there is a Killarney outfit, and I couldn't claim dominion over them.
Claim away. Myself and Liam used to make films together. Way back in the day.
The Click.
Good fight scenes. We never fought each other, did we?
We did, yeah. We had in Cop Story.
That's right. Sorry.
You gave me the finger at the end of the fight sequence when you knocked me out. Yeah. And we had you were hanging off the edge of my yellow van.
Oh fuck it! That was actually my favourite fight scene. I say that that was one of the best ones, one of the most real ones. Anyway,
you'll have to dig that up. I'll have to see that one.
I have to. I don't know. Do I have it? I think Dolan has all those. Do you still have that? Hardly still have that van, do you?
No. Oh Jesus, no. I think that van is in a museum
bought that
somewhere.
For what was it, like 500 quid or something? You bought it for?
It was something ridiculous like that.
And it was to lug gear around, and we just used it. Then at one stage, I think we were topless for one of the movies on the top of it.
That's the day we got arrested.
Yeah, nearly got arrested. Yeah, fucking hell, Jesus.
I brought a girl on a first date in that yellow van as well. And when she saw me pull up outside her house, she brought a baseball bat on the date with her.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that. Jesus.
Describe the van. Is this a yellow van?
Oh, it's like a
big long wheelbase
old transit,
but like canary yellow. And then I had like the
roof rack,
like a big full length roof rack, ladder going up the back of it, and like there was a rusty panel.
It was rapey.
All you're missing was the kind of torn off Brennan's Today's Bread Today logo off the side of it.
It was rapey.
It was actually an old Sierra Networks van, and they used to lug around like tarmacking tools and stuff like that. Like, so it was rough and ready, and it had done a lot of heavy miles, but
And did you think about that before you went on the date? That this could be a problem?
I didn't have a choice. That was my whip.
Yeah, I remember the Merc as well.
Yeah, well,
the Merc.
I'd have been a lot more impressive if I pulled up outside the door with that one. Well, it's okay.
How's training going?
Training's going good. Well, I'm not training. I'm just getting beaten up by lads who are training. But I probably do more rounds of sparring now than I did when I was actually fighting myself.
Nice. So
that's good. It's good fun. Yeah, we've got a pretty significant squad now of guys who are very, very competitive, and we're kept busy all the time.
Sweet.
So
how many members do you have?
We're just over 300 members now at the moment.
Brilliant. Are you still out in the business park?
Yeah,
out on the north side.
Yeah. We're in number 31 as opposed to 2 and 3. So actually, do you remember we got just before we opened up the gym, I got the keys for number 31.
And we had a fight scene in there.
We had a fight scene in there, but we weren't supposed to be in there. Yeah. So that's, if the landlord ever found out about that, we'll be evicted. But we trashed the place.
So the place was it was an old storing unit or whatever, a housing place.
It used to be Arctic hot tubs.
And Liam fought Mark, John Snow's stuntman.
Oh,
so
class.
They had, that's on Vimeo, I think. I still have that. Mm-hmm. And they fucking throw each other through walls. It's really cool. I have to show it to you. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Fish that out for me.
It was definitely one of the best. And that's where we are now.
That's where we are now.
That place was fucking huge.
Yeah. So when we originally went to open up the gym, that was like the dream. And I had I used to work with AutoCAD and stuff like that, so I had all 3D drawings and I had it all visualized and everything. We put in a lending application with AIB, and that was the week that Lehman's Brothers went tits up.
Oh,
so we thought we were away and we were just going to open up, and it was going to be the most amazing facility, you know. And then there was nobody lending, so we got no money. So we just told the landlord, we was like, that's it, we're done, we can't do it, we're just going to have to call it quits at that. And he said, look, I have this smaller unit down the front of the park, which was where we opened up. And he said, look, you can go on a week by week rent basis, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
And then 5 years later, we eventually build back up to the stage where we don't need lending to be able to open up this bigger venue, because we grew organically to the size where we could actually sustain the bigger venue, and that's where we're at now.
Nice.
So
You were an early mover as well on social media. I remember that with K2C. You were always doing videos, and Marlene was always doing videos, just people training, and even if it was 15, 20 seconds. Mm-hmm. Do you think that still helps? Do you think that still builds?
Oh yeah, massively. early movers, that might be a bit generous for us. We were on social media. I don't think we ever took full advantage of it, and we're certainly behind the curve as it is now.
Okay.
We have plans on kind of recapturing a bit of former glory on that now in the next few months. I was doing a podcast last year called Bruce by the Lee.
Okay.
When I used to write for the Evening Echo. I was the martial arts correspondent for the Evening Echo for 5 years.
Oh, nice.
So I did this podcast, which was basically so my job in the Evening Echo was to write about anything to do with Cork martial artists. So anybody that was fighting in Taekwondo, Karate, MMA, Jiu-Jitsu, doesn't matter what it was. If it was a Cork club or if it was a Cork event, I wrote about it in the Echo, and I had like 2,500 words a week. It was 6 stories, and I did that for 5 years. And then because I had all that content and it was only going out in one print 1 day a week, it was like, this would be a brilliant podcast. So we did that as a podcast, and all of the interviews that I was doing for the Echo, I recorded them and we put them out as a weekly podcast. So we did that, and then we kind of fell out of the habit of doing it. So we want to get back in there.
Bro, it's so hard. We were literally just arguing about this morning. Well, we were talking about it, video or no video, because it's so much work. So we'll stop rolling, and it's like, okay.
Now you have to start. Yep.
We had Danny from the Coronas in, and it took me nearly 3 hours to edit the podcast, because you're going back and forth, you're cutting the cameras, and it's like, instead of just clipping it and you're gone. But then again, people watch it. I watch my podcast on YouTube.
You watch your own podcast?
Not my own. Like Joe Rogan, all the boys. Like, just sit at home. Yeah.
When we were doing the Bruce by Lee podcast, we had the folks from Generic People Media Productions were they're members in the gym, and they were recording it live. Yeah, so they were recording it live. And they were cutting between the cameras live and putting it out on Facebook Live. So once we finished the episode,
it was live.
It was saved.
It was Joe Rogan style. It was gone.
Yeah.
It was gone. Like,
it was gone. Yeah, we didn't
all
have
the
to do
work is
anything
taken out of it then. Yeah,
but it meant that you had to have somebody there.
Click.
Yeah. And now Anton Ronan did a phenomenal job in it, and
it's on Facebook, is it?
Yeah, Bruce by the Lee on Facebook. Yeah,
nice.
There's a few of the episodes are up there, and we used to have like kind of, it was like Live at 3 in some parts, because we had these little segments. You know, we had Techers of the Week, and we had in studio live guests, and they would demonstrate some technique, and then we'd do highlight reels of tournaments and stuff like that. So any YouTube clips, we get permission to re-air them and stuff like that. And then we do UFC breakdowns and analysis videos and stuff like that. So we got pretty good at it after a while.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just it is, as you know, it's a lot of work. And when somebody falls out of the habit of it, it's kind
tough.
of hard.
It's fucking tough, because this time I'm sitting at home going, I have to edit that fucking thing now. But still, we love you guys. What made you jump to SBG, to that brand, to that franchise? Yeah,
so when you knew us at the very beginning, it was, as you said, it was K2C. K2C, little known fact, is K and 2 C's, which stood for Kick-Ass College of Combat. So people ask me that all the time, what's K2C stand for? That's what it stands for. So we were an independent, just a gym, that was it. I had no experience in the full contact martial arts world when we started in K2C. And we were just fumbling our way in the dark. We were the blind leading the blind when it came to MMA or any of the full contact stuff. And there was other gyms around, and we would develop, we'll say, athletes up to a certain point, and we just didn't have that next level. You know, where did they go? They get to a certain level with us, and then it's like, well, that's the limit now. We're like, we better go to a bigger gym, or we better go to a gym that has links international, that has other opportunities. So, fucked if I'm going to become a feeder gym for anybody else after spending, like myself and my sister Marlene and my brother-in-law Jimmy, we spent our life savings and every waking hour for the last 10 years. Not a hope in hell are we going to become a feeder gym for anybody else. Yeah. So we said, right, we have to up our game. We need international links. We need the support of a worldwide team that's well known, and there was only one choice really when it came to it. There was only one option out there, and that was SBG. So I reached out to John Kavanagh, and he ignored me for a few weeks. I chased him down. I went to his gym, got kicked out a few times, you know, kept hassling, and eventually he answered me, and we had a conversation, and he said, right, I have to go and check with my boss. So John Kavanagh is head of SBG in Ireland, but SBG is actually based in Portland, Oregon, and Matt Thornton is the head of that.
Okay.
So he said, I have to go check with Matt. I don't know if there's any space left in SBG organisation. That's what he told me. Well, actually, what he was doing was he was going and vetting me with all the other guys that he knew in Cork already.
Okay.
So he has a very good friend who actually owns the Franciscan Well, Shane Long.
Okay.
Shane has been an OG of MMA in Cork for many, many years. And he was one of the calls he made. And luckily, Shane thought we were decent enough. And a couple of other people thought we were decent enough. And we got welcomed in. And that was it.
Nice.
We were on the road.
That was 6 years, 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
5 years ago now that we became SBG, yeah.
Nice.
We did a year probation first.
Okay.
So we were K2C affiliated to SBG.
Okay.
And then...
You just made the rebrand then?
Yeah.
Nice. And did you find the uptake then, people going, oh, SBG, was it big?
Suddenly we were taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Before that we had a reputation of being, we had a reputation of being a kids club.
Okay.
That we taught lots of kids classes. We still teach lots of kids classes, but but we say the MMA fighters wouldn't have been taken so seriously, including myself.
Mm.
You know, but as soon as we tagged the SBG name on it, then people say, "Oh, hang on now."
Yeah.
You know, and no, we still had a lot to learn. I mean, it wasn't instantly that we jumped up a level.
Yeah.
You had to bring yourselves to that next level as well.
Did you get a playbook? Did you get something like a franchisee book, whatever it is, or?
Yeah, it's not so much
a franchise, is it? It's kind of a, as you said, affiliation, or it's
an affiliation. Yeah, it is like there is a business franchise agreement that is there, but it's not really based on business. It's based on representing the brand and what we call the vibe. Okay. So there's one tribe, one vibe, and that's built from the very, very beginner classes upwards. So, like, if you come into the gym, we've got a mixture of kids, older adults, athletes, male, female, very, very even mix all across the board, and it's a friendly family environment. It's not your quintessential fight gym that's hardcore and weeding out the weak, you know.
And meatheads and
exactly,
tough guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the very first things, I don't know if you remember, we had the K2C scrapyard.
I do.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So
that was the gate. You did to close off the gate, and there's a scrapyard sign on the gate and everything.
And we actually had an old car. We had we cut a car in half. We had a VW Golf Cabriolet drop top, and we had it cut in half, and we were going to stick the front of it in the inside and the back of it, the arse of it out on the outside. That was the plan. We never got to it. The car just sat in the
outside and the back, wasn't it?
We used to use it as a couch. But the whole idea was that it was like we wanted to try and disband that kind of kids class image, and we wanted a tough fight team. And the logo was like a scrapyard dog.
It's a bulldog or something.
It was baring teeth, and it was a big muscle meathead. Yeah. You know? And that was the very, very first thing that John Kavanagh said to me. We joined the gym, or we joined SBG, and I said, look, this is our fight team, we're tough guys. And he said, get rid of that. He said, who do you want in the gym? Do you want all these meatheads that are going to hurt everybody and turn away most of your membership, or do you want to actually have a successful gym where you can provide the facilities, the top class facilities for your fight team?
Nice.
Because who's going to pay for that?
Yeah.
The fighters are not going to pay for it. They're all broke. People who are going to pay for it are the people who arrive for self-defense classes, for fitness classes, for kids classes, for being part of a gym. So you need to be welcoming. You need to be a family environment. It needs to be a safe place to be. It needs to be the kind of place that parents would choose to bring their kids.
Yeah.
And then when you have a solid base of membership, then you can afford to have a cage. Yeah. Then you can afford to have new bags hanging. You can have new pads. You can have wall-to-wall mats. You can have mirrors on the wall. You know, before that we had like 20, 30 members who were all broke, and we couldn't hang a bag on the wall for more than 10 weeks. It was broken, and then we had to save up for another bag.
Yeah.
You know, you remember the
I do. Yeah,
the gear falling apart, like, you know.
I remember. What happened? I got a sidekick into the wall, and the roof fell down. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Training, I got a sidekick, and I was blown back into the wall and the roof.
Yeah, I put that roof up as well.
But that's grassroots. That makes you who you are today.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? That's how that works. But it's amazing the way SBG's flipped it. That it's not meatheads, it's not a family, or it is a family feel, and then produced the biggest sports star of our generation. Would you say that?
Yeah,
probably is. Yeah, of our generation. Yeah.
Of our generation. If not of all time, at some stage.
Conor McGregor, obviously, is what we're talking about. If people didn't pick it up, but and
now when he goes to the gym, he brings his 2-year-old son to the gym, and it's because it's such a family environment that he can do that. You couldn't bring him to Rocky Balboa's gym.
No, that's what I'm saying. The Ken Shamrock gyms way back in the Frank Shamrock. Like, no way is a kid walking around there unless they're cleaning or just wiping up blood and sweat. Like,
Yeah.
The Wimp to Warrior. That's pretty cool. It's a cool set. There's a great response to that, is there?
Yeah, it's very popular. It's a complete game changer for us. So just to explain what it is. So it's basically a 6-month program for complete novices or relatively beginner martial artists who may have it on their bucket list to have an MMA fight at one point in their life, or maybe they want to use it as a kind of a Kickstarter to start an MMA hobby. So it's a 6-month program. They sign up, and every morning at 6 a.m. they train for an hour. They go off and do their day's work or go back to bed or whatever they do. They come back in the evening, they train again in the evening, and they do that for 6 months.
7 days a week.
5 days a week for the program, and then they're always in on the weekends anyway.
Yeah.
They everybody, especially coming close towards the end, the oh shit factor kicks in, and everybody wants to do as much training as possible.
Yeah.
So head down, train for 6 months, and then you fight your first amateur MMA fight.
Yep.
Okay.
And they're matched internally, so it's only people within the group that fight each other.
So I'd be let's say if two or me and you, I'd be fighting you, or I'd be fighting Keane.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of tough.
It is tough. Yeah.
You're fighting a team member, like.
A lot of people like to fight their friends.
Yeah, that's true as well.
But the big thing about that is that you know it's going to be safe. You know, because we have complete control over the matchup, and I know that person A is relatively similar style-wise, weight-wise, ability-wise to person B. Whereas if you go to a regular show, you have to take it on trust that the other person has only 6 months experience, or that they're not, you know, they're not going to turn up overweight or whatever, you know. So it's just an element of safety. But these guys fight full amateur rules. It's not like a toned down set of rules.
Blue collar boxing match kind of thing.
No, it's full MMA.
Proper padded gloves, or
so they wear the same 6-ounce MMA gloves and shin pads that they wear at the IMAF World Championships at amateur level, and it's 3 3-minute rounds. All strikes are in, it's full contact. They can hit each other on the floor. All submissions are in. There's no knees to the head, but then there's no knees to the head for amateurs either. There's no elbows, but again, that's a regular amateur rule. And they have to pass the same level of medical standards as every other amateur as well. Okay. So it's an intense 6 months. You get the kind of people who jump on the program are ranging. The youngest we've had is 18. The oldest we've had is 56. We had a woman at 56 who fought 3 times in 1 year. She wouldn't stop fighting until she won one. So she lost her first one. Her second one, she fought up in Belfast. So SBG Belfast have a Wimp Warrior season. She fought on that season as well, and she was kicking the snot out of her opponent. But at the end of the 3rd round, she kind of stood back and put her hands on her hips and kind of left out a sigh. So the referee came over to me and said, "Are you all right?" She said, yeah, fine, I'm just a bit dizzy. And he said, "Fuck that." And he waved off the fight, because a 56-year-old woman tells you she's dizzy and she's in a fight, you immediately think stroke. Well, that's what he thought anyway. Yeah. So he waved off the fight and she was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? I was winning." So then she had to fight again. So she fought a 3rd time. Oh, she's an absolute animal, Miss Moira Welch. She's
her name sounds scary.
Yeah. And actually, her daughter is one of the top female fighters in the country as well. No, she didn't get any hints and tips off her daughter. It's just great genetics in that family. Yeah. They're all animals. But yeah, so so from 18 years to 56 years, everything in between. You have a half and half, male and female. Some people have never fought in their life, never done martial arts in their life. Once they do the Wimp to Warrior, they never plan on doing it again. It's just kind of like a bucket list item. Some people use it as a kind of a starting point. So we've got a whole bunch of people who started doing Wimp to Warrior and then transitioned to kickboxing or jiu-jitsu afterwards and went up the ranks that way. Some people just stay on and do it for self-defense and are involved in the gym for the rest of the time, you know. But it's a massive game changer. The transformations people make in 6 months. They lose a pile of weight or gain it if we got one really, really thin lad last year. He wanted to bulk up a bit. He gained 6 kilos. So that either way, whichever way, they get into the shape of their life. Mentally, they're after overcoming so many obstacles between like little kind of niggly injuries, getting out of bed at 6 a.m, you know, being punched in the face and getting through it, learning new skills. So mentally they're so on point. And then at the end of it, then they get to make this walk that only a tiny percentage of the world population ever get to do.
And are ballsy enough to do as well.
Yeah, and their whole family and friends and everybody is there to support them.
Yeah.
And whether they win, lose, or it doesn't matter. The fight is just a celebration of what they've achieved over the last 6 months, and it's a phenomenal process.
Is it one kind of coaching team coaching everyone? Like, so if, say, me and Jay went into it, would you say, okay, Jay, you'd be a bit better at the wrestling, we're going to focus more on the wrestling, Keane, you're going to do a bit of more Muay Thai? Does it work like that?
Say in that, like, and you tell me I'm wrong. If we have the same boxing coach, technically you're going to say, well, he's a bad left hand, and you should, and vice versa. Does that not kind of contradict?
It does in the last couple of weeks. There's game planning in the last couple of weeks, but you actually don't know who's fighting who until 2 or 3 weeks out.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, so then you'll have very limited time to work anything.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And you know, you'll have sparred each other hundreds of times in the 6 months. So there's no surprises. And
then, as Keane asked, that you spot that, right, he's class at jiu-jitsu, let's focus on that, get into the ground, and you work per fighter, that kind of thing. It's not just a...
we don't specialise until the last 2 weeks, last 2-3 weeks. Like the whole process is about giving them like as much MMA as possible. So we work 2 mornings a week striking, 2 mornings a week jiu-jitsu and grappling, and 1 morning a week wrestling. And then throughout the whole process, it's just like we just tick the boxes, get this position, everybody trying to improve. There's a certain amount of personal responsibility for the competitors to figure out where do I need to improve. And then when they come back into the evening classes, we said the 6 a.m. classes are the same for everybody. The evening classes, they have choice. So we say at 7 p.m. they could choose to go to a striking class or a jiu-jitsu class. Which one do I need more work on? Okay. So that's where the personal responsibility comes into it, you know.
It's nice as well, though, that they have that choice that you can say, look, this you need to work on your boxing more. What are you doing? Grappling, like.
Yeah. Yep. And it's like, I mean, there's plenty of people that have gone through the process before, and we've got loads of amateur fighters. We've got a couple of pro fighters now. So
that's what I was going to say. So people have escalated from that to pro fighting.
So we've got our first pro contract signed. I unfortunately I can't announce who it's with.
Oh, good.
But I'll come back another time. We'll do that.
Just tweet us.
Yeah.
But it's exciting.
Yeah, massively exciting. Yeah. So I mean, that would never have been possible under the banner of K2C. Just wouldn't have been possible.
So just to black and white, you now have a professional fighter from SBG Cork who's now going to be on a main card somewhere under a massive brand. That's fucking class. I mean, that will put you on the map if that person didn't like.
And it's a homegrown fighter as well, which I find is that to me is the thing that we take most pride in. Like our fighters are from day one. You know, they came to us with nothing, and they went through the same process that all our beginners that do now. They go through their fundamental kickboxing, their fundamental jiu-jitsu, and they work their way up the ranks. And there we go.
And with that, is that when they're training coming up? Is it John, can they come up to you for a week and train with your guys? And it's that kind of idea where you can just send them anywhere?
Yeah, once they reach a certain level, they have to earn that right. John doesn't suffer fools easily at all. He's very, very serious about what he does. There has been cases in the past where I've recommended people go train with John and vouched for them. And I get a phone call a couple of days later and said, don't ever send him to me again.
Jesus.
Not from luckily not my own guys, but I vouched for people in the past, and he's like, that's a black mark against your name. You're like my name, as in like I can't trust you to make a judgment call. Do you know what I mean? So I've had to now a lot of my guys would love the opportunity to go to train with the pro fight team up in Dublin. I'm like, do this and this, and then when it comes to our Ryan Spillane is our he's our front runner in the gym. He's a current European and world amateur champion. He's the number 1 pound for pound number 1 heavyweight amateur fighter in the world right now. And his first day going to Concord, I got him the invitation to go up, and I said on the way up, you turn up an hour early.
Yeah. You
work your ass off. No fucking complaining. When he asks you, are you tired? You say, fuck no, give me more. And mop the mats afterwards. I don't care what you have to do. You make that first impression the best you can be. And luckily he took that on board, and now he has an open-ended invitation. He has a lifetime membership to Concord now as well.
Class. That's class.
So
Yeah.
you got to grab the opportunities.
Absolutely. And the Wimp to Warrior finals, is that in your gym, or do you host it somewhere else? Is it
So the first one we did, the first one was the biggest season we had because it was kind of new and there was a bit of a novelty to it. We had Neptune Stadium for the first one.
class?
So we sold 1,400 tickets. We had 26 fights. It was absolutely
That's class.
insane. Paddy Hoolan was the guest of honour. He also fought in the UFC.
Yeah, Paddy's hero. Yeah.
So and then the next couple of seasons then were just a bit smaller. So we took the Glen Rovers Hurling and Football Club. Awesome venue. It's got the stacked tiered seatings. It's a kind of a more intimate space. The warm-up areas are a lot better than the Neptune. Neptune is a great sports hall, but as a fighter, the warm-up areas are desperate.
Because
They're
it's
really,
a basketball arena,
Yeah.
and they don't need much more space backstage, whereas the hurlers and footballers will need a bit of room backstage. Yeah, I can understand that.
Okay.
So like in Neptune, they're warming up in the shower.
Okay.
So you could potentially slip and break your ankle in the warm-up area, you know, and there's just no space anywhere. Whereas in the Glen Hurling and Football Club, it's like a whole hall separate to the main hall, and the guys can spread out and just take their time, and the ambulance crew have loads of room. It's a brilliant venue and a great atmosphere because like the cage is right here, and the seats are just stacked, all facing at the
cage.
Yeah, it's brilliant. We love it.
Nice.
So we'll be there on November 3rd is our next finale, season 5 finale, and we're going to put on a full amateur card as well. So we'll have all of our top. We have 15 solid amateur fighters on the roster at the moment, and they'll all be fighting on that night as well.
Class. We'll definitely go to that.
It's a great show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how bad, like, how much tickets?
Usually between 30, 35, depending where you're sitting.
Laughing for a night
Yeah,
worth of
For a
combat.
night
like,
of
do you know what I
MMA,
mean?
like, yeah.
Absolutely laughing. Do you still do the viewing parties?
We have done. We had a couple of instances. One of them, we actually got a call from the UFC at one point as well through John Kavanagh, because we advertised a viewing party.
Oh no!
And
As SBG.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we just kind of put it out there. We made a kind of a Facebook event page, and it just so happened that John Kavanagh was with Dana White at the time, and he either pulled it up on his phone or something anyway, and John was like, Dana doesn't like that, just take down the event, you know. So I was like,
That's hilarious that you're literally 1 point away from Dana White,
Yeah.
and you got in trouble for showing UFC in your gym because he was standing beside him, like.
yeah. I think like in general, like they don't like it anyway, you know, because obviously they sell a license to sports bars and stuff like that, and we were only paying for one pay-per-view. And yes, there was like 50 or 60 people watching it or whatever it was, you know.
Great atmosphere, though.
Oh, it was unreal.
They're
Was that
class
Conor
atmospheres.
and Khabib, was it?
We had Conor, the first one we did, we had Conor and Jose Aldo. And like we literally all stayed up. We were all just kind of starting to nod off, and the fight started, and like 11 seconds later it was over. We fucking went nuts. Nobody slept for 2 days. It was just absolutely insane. And then every fight after that, we always have a kind of an impromptu kind of a viewing party, but we can't do the organised ones.
But then again,
anymore.
like it's not right that people, like, I don't do it. Well, we used to do it when back in the day. It was 7 or 8 of us in our house watching it.
Yeah.
And like it's.
Oh, they don't mind that. It's just like 50 or 100
yes,
people.
when you're
that's
advertising
what,
it and that thing. But with that, like the likes of Conor fighting, as an Irish fan, you're like, yeah, we're behind him, we're fighting. But he's literally a teammate. It's obviously escalated and multiplied 50 times, is it? Like you said, you partied for 2 days after because our teammate did that.
Yeah, I mean, we take massive pride in being part of that. Like, and we're not even. I can't even claim to be part of his journey. I mean, we were late in the door. He was already flying high by the time we became SBG.
He was
but
Cage Warriors, then he was champion Cage Warriors, was he? 5 years ago?
When he had just had his first UFC fight when we became part of when we became an affiliate to SBG.
And then he had a year off, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
That was Dennis. What's his name? Was it?
No, it was
Max Holloway.
Max
He blew his knee. He blew his ACL. But yeah, I mean, I can't claim any input at all into Conor's or any of that generation's development. But like our guys now, like we say, Hulk now winning the world title. He's just one of those athletes now that's building the brand for SBG, and we're starting to pay our way a bit, you know.
His nickname is Hulk.
Hulk.
Class.
Ryan the Hulk Spillane.
John, it's hilarious. I remember with you, again, nearly 10 years ago, the massive thing you were into was merch. You're laughing now at the SBG stuff. You used to have K2C stuff and then gloves. I got a shipment from Asia, lads. And everything boxes upon boxes upon boxes. You're like, Jesus Christ, Lee.
Yeah, that's a totally other story. That was Wikicast.
Yes, Wikicast, that's it.
We kick ass. We used to have a logo with there was an ass and a foot on it.
It was like the thing, this little footprint.
But we used to import all our stuff from Pakistan. Myself and Jimmy went to Pakistan to vet the suppliers because we didn't know what was coming in the boxes, or we didn't know, was it like a load of kids that were stitching these by hand or what, you know. So we decided we'd go and visit the factories and stuff like that, and we had this thing going on for a while. But there was one time a shipment arrived and totally different logo. Instead of having the ass and the foot on it, it just had a W. And we were like, that's just not going to work. Like, it's just not it doesn't have the same, what's going on. So apparently we rang the supplier and we were like, this is bullshit. Like, you're going to have to give us our money back or do it properly or whatever. And he was all apologetic, and he was saying, well, look, the reason why is because every shipment that goes out of the factory, we have it blessed by the local imam, or the Muslim priest or whatever he is anyway. So he comes in and he took one look at the logo and he said, that's not happening. And he made them burn the whole thing. So they burnt 10 grand's worth of gear, burnt. Now, to us, 10 grand is a lot of money. To a manufacturer in Pakistan, that's a year's wages.
Yeah.
So this guy lost a shirt, literally lost a shirt or two. But what it turns out that it wasn't actually the ass. They had no problem with the ass. The problem was that in Arabic, the same symbol that we were using as a W that was ass shaped is also the same symbol for Allah.
Oh,
so we were standing on Allah. Oh, that was the problem. So yeah. So at a certain point we were infidels. But, yeah.
What are your thoughts on MMA today? You still watching? You still up to date with everything? Yeah.
It's like we're living in the golden era of MMA. I mean, like all the guys that are in the Hall of Fame, we know who they are now. Like, you know. Yeah. Whereas like the guys that are in the Hall of Fame of boxing, our grandfathers were talking about them. You know what I mean? So like we're living in the most exciting era. I watch as much as I can, and I will watch
across
fights,
all companies. Bellator.
Yeah. I mean, some of the other, like Bellator have
unbelievable
amazing athletes on their roster. One FC or one championships as they're now called. They've got phenomenal fights, you know, and even the non-MMA stuff that's on the rise because of it. Like grappling has received a massive boom.
Huge.
Like the likes of Polaris, the likes of EBI. Even the ADCC being on the likes of Fight Pass and Flow Grappling and stuff like that. Those are amazing to watch. You've got a load of on Fight Pass now as well. You can watch the World Letway Championships. A couple of years ago, nobody knew what Letway was. It's basically Muay Thai with headbutts.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, it's vicious, but it's on Fight Pass now. Yeah. You have there's full contact karate now with ground and pound.
All on Fight Pass still as well.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff on there. You know what I mean? And it's a fantastic time to be involved in martial arts and being some part of it. You know,
it's great to see two big companies rivaling the UFC as well, so they don't have a total monopoly on it. Like one FC or one championship have some incredible fighters. Like they've really cornered that kind of the Asian fighters over there. The one is the goal for them. It's not the UFC.
Yeah, well, Dana's really trying to break it as well.
Exactly.
He's really trying to break it.
But as soon as I tell you this, as soon as they come more west, like they're going to give UFC a big run for their money because of the talent they have, the shows they put on, the money they put into it. Whereas Bellator, I think, kind of set themselves back every now and again by putting Chael Sonnen versus Rashad Evans, like that kind of stuff doesn't. It's great for us to watch because we've seen them fight in their prime, and like it's great. And like
he's just been inducted, hasn't he?
Chael?
No,
Rashad Evans. Yeah.
That was a while back, though. Was it? Sorry, am I thinking of someone else? No, Rashad Evans.
No, it's Rashad Evans.
Was just inducted to the Hall of Fame, wasn't he? Just announced.
It's going to be fight week. I think he's going to be inducted in. So they'll announce more people as they go.
Okay.
Well, Bellator are moving towards Europe as being their a solid investment ground over the next 5 years. There's a gap there, as UFC hasn't invested in Europe at all in the last few years. So Bellator are moving into that space, and they're making a lot of moves.
There's a lot more. There's a bigger pool of fighters clearly, like, not just Conor, but you saw the likes of Joanna pop up when those European fighters started really making an influence in the UFC.
But even the boys like Dan Hardy, Bisping, they were all there.
Yeah.
But they then just focused on, like, I think there's, 2 shows in Dublin ever? Was it?
2 fight nights.
Was it ever?
No, there was 3. So it was 2 in the last couple of years, and then there was one back in the day when Thomas the Tank Egan was the first Irish fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Thomas the Tank Egan.
So
But that just shows that they need to... Bellator is dead right to move into that space, like. Dead right. France, Germany... Yeah. They have done fight nights here and there, haven't they? 1 or 2, but even they try Oz as well. But
they have the 2 biggest what's it called? Oceanic fighters on the planet at the moment. Robert Whittaker and Adesanya. Like they're going to sell out no matter what size arena they get. It's going to sell out with them.
And KSW is another massive promotion as well. We don't hear about it much here, but if you go to a KSW show in Poland, the audience is like 60,000-70,000.
I've never heard of it.
I've seen a few bits and
They've
pieces.
done the 3 Arena. They sold out the 3 Arena last year.
Really?
Yeah. They have a lot of freak athletes on there, like Mariusz Pudzianowski,
the world's strongest man.
And they have all these guys.
Is he the Iranian fella who's just?
No, he's
Polish guy, I think.
Yeah, he's a Polish guy, but he was the world's strongest man like 6 times in a row or something like that. He's huge, like he's like 300 kilos.
Yeah, ripped
to death.
What was that guy's name? Mark. Way back in the day. Got a head kick to the face and dropped.
Mark Coleman.
Is he that kind of fighter where
Even
he's just
bigger
power?
Again.
He makes him look like a runt.
But is there wrestling there? Is it pound and ground or ground and pound? Or?
Yeah, he's just really strong.
Yeah.
He's just really, really strong. But like they always bring in other freaks to fight him. Like, so the last guy they came in, he had nothing but gold teeth. And it just looked like an episode of like 007 and when they were Moonwalker or whatever, we ran Jaws or whatever. They do that from time to time. But I mean, the heavyweight Grand Prix last year was that for Bellator was epic. The welterweight Grand Prix at the moment has thrown up some really, really interesting matches. They've got Gegard Mousasi, Rory MacDonald. Like, these are not B-list fighters. Like, these are guys that would easily challenge in the UFC for any of the titles.
Surprised actually UFC let them go. Yeah, you'd be surprised that they let them go to Bellator.
But I think it's a case of the divisions. The welterweight division is so stacked in the UFC, and they can't afford to pay everyone what they want to be paid. Like, Rory MacDonald deserves to be one of the highest paid athletes in the world.
Since the deal with ESPN, they definitely can.
You'd be surprised.
There was 60,000 buys for the last fight with Rose. And they got paid for 500,000 buys. Do you know what I mean? They're getting crazy money. What did I say? It was 600 million they're supposed to get a year annually off ESPN. You can definitely pay the fighters. Like, they're hoping to have 250 shows a year. Is that right?
Yes, I heard that number as well.
250 shows a year. You need to stack that card, like, and then why not try and get all of it in?
There's not going to be any stacked cards if you have 250 fights a year. Like,
they're all going to go, right, that's a head fight, that's a main event for that one, that's a main event. They're going to keep them all the big ones for the main events.
Back to the days when it was once every 2 or 3 months you'd have a card, and the cards were unbelievable from start to finish. Now it's all been diluted down.
But even to when I was in New York 2018, when I went to Madison Square Garden for
Bisping and GSP,
co-main event was Cody and TJ, and then Rose and that's huge. Like,
but to be fair, the 2 times they fought at New York, they wanted to put on big cards for it. Yeah, to be fair.
And I was there I was in Las Vegas for the first fucking Khabib and Tony fight that he pulled out the tiramisu scenario,
really?
And I was like, you son of a bitch! Like,
what are your thoughts on the bare knuckle?
Oh yeah,
it's an interesting one. I wouldn't have been a big fan of it. I'm still not. I'm not enamored with it.
We'll see tomorrow. No, bare knuckle boxing. SBG Cork.
New classes. Bring your own knuckles.
Toughen those knuckles.
I'm still not. I mean, a massive fan. I think it's. But I don't know. I'm just. It's intriguing as a fight fan to see what like new rules always bring new styles. I mean, the whole when you look at like. Photographs of boxers in the turn, like in like 1900s, 1920s and stuff like that. They all boxed with their hands down here, and like the reasoning for that was that because they were bare knuckle, they
wanna
didn't
hit
bother
the face
punching
too
each other
much.
in the head because it bust their hands up. So it made no sense to have their hands here because there wasn't as many headshots. Are we going to see a return of that style to bare knuckle boxing? I'm not sure.
Which is body shots.
Just a lot of body shots, yeah. I mean, at the moment, the skill level isn't massive in the bare knuckle boxing.
I feel personally it's a money grab. I think it's a flash in the pan money grab. Oh, bare knuckle, go, go, go.
It
Guys are fucking
appeals to
scumbag,
the
like.
it appeals to the old school guys who wanted the original UFC, who
Does
want
it?
blood and want violence and want someone hurt badly in the cage. It appeals to those fans. I watched the last one, and I'm watching MMA since I was a child, and I found some of it hard to watch. Like the Jason Knight and Artem Lobov one is tough to watch, and the pictures afterwards.
I can guarantee you Paulie's going to be so much worse. Because he has so much scar tissue on his head
And
from
it's not
boxing.
even that. I
And
think
he's got a small head too.
his big issue is his hands are going to break straight away. If he hits Artem in the face, his hands are going to
People are
break.
saying
A
he
boxer
can do it.
that's fighting
People
that
that
long.
say he can do it because of his boxing background, but I don't think he can.
Is it possible to win on points?
I don't know.
Like, is that possible?
Yeah, I think so.
But are they
He
going to
might
fight?
try and point
Like,
fight.
Yeah.
You saw the boys'
you were asking what
faces.
the
They're not
rules
going to
is.
stop the fight because of cuts.
No.
They're so unless they throw the towel in for one of them, or
Someone
It's a
can tap
knockout.
as well, or
they give up.
in.
I think to Artem hitting him twice is going to do a lot more damage to Paulie hitting Artem 6 times because the scar tissue on Paulie's face from the boxing, it's just going to rip faster, isn't it? And he's just going to bleed faster.
Plus, it seems like Artem just has a head of concrete, and like
Goat.
you're going to have to if Jason Knight is able to land that many shots and not knock you out,
He's a
bare
hero.
knuckle like Paulie Malignaggi, and I respect Paulie because he's been boxing 15, 16 years
This is
professionally.
This is the thing. He's commentating now and getting paid 6 figures for commentating on Showtime. Why is he fighting in a bare knuckle fight?
He's chasing Connor.
He's getting
I
like
think.
50 or 60 grand for it.
He's chasing Connor.
But Connor's never going to go bare knuckle ever.
No, I don't think it matters if it's bare knuckle. Like
He's just
I
chasing
think
Connor's
he's
team.
chasing Connor. I think he wants to draw Connor out into a boxing match.
But
That's
is
where the
he
money will
getting
be.
so much money commentating because he's now relevant again?
Well, this was before all of it. This was like last year before he even did all this. Like,
And he does it with before the whole Connor thing. He does it for Sky Box Office as
Okay.
well. He
Right.
commentates there as well.
and he's a good commentator.
Yeah.
I've watched like only highlight clips, but he's not bad. Like,
And apart from what we've seen so far, I always thought he was a nice guy, but now he's
I didn't. I
Does
was
your
looking
head
for
in.
pants. Like the spitting is like I know he's trying to
the
he's trying to
spitting is-
upsell.
yeah,
The
it's-
spitting is too much.
yeah.
The one thing I would say about white collar boxing, or not white collar boxing, but bare knuckle boxing, is how come the UK and Ireland aren't the best in the world at it right now? Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
must have the best bare knuckle boxers in the UK and
Yeah.
Ireland. Like they've been doing it for how long?
And they
Yeah.
can sell fights as well.
And
Did that Ken Shamrock one ever go ahead where he was going to fight that
The Traveller.
the Traveller? Remember that was scheduled a couple of years ago. Ken Shamrock was going to do bare knuckle fighting with I can't think of his name.
Is he still alive? He is. He Ken Shamrock
he is,
somewhere.
he is, yeah.
Strange I haven't seen him pop up on Golden Boy now. Ken Shamrock versus. It's like no, stop, Ken. Please stop. Did you have you met Artem before?
I have.
Good guy.
Yeah, extremely intelligent guy. He's actually a financial advisor.
God damn it, Lee.
Jesus.
He is such a clever guy, like, and he's so cool, so down to earth, and so like loyal to a fault. I mean, like when
I'm sure this is what the whole reason is, isn't it?
yeah,
Connor,
I mean, that whole thing of Connor hopping on a private jet and going straight to
Khabib.
to Khabib,
Las
like,
Vegas.
that was based on that's the kind of loyalty that you have
Unreal.
for a brother, do you know, and they're that's not fake. That's real as it gets, like, and Artem would do exactly the same for Connor.
I do think it's not fake, but like I think the argument is with all that is surely in that 8 or 9 hour flight you've calmed down. Does he keep that same intensity on the plane the entire time?
Yeah. Well, I'd say there was a few whiskeys involved as well on the way over.
Yeah,
of course.
But yeah, no, they have that intense brotherhood, you know. And it's not just Paulie, or it's not just Artem and Connor. Like there's a crew.
Yeah.
You know, and Connor would stand up for any of his teammates. I've heard a few stories of him standing up for his teammates on the mat. You know, when one teammate's been kind of
Too rough.
yeah, and he'd step in. One story of him basically coming out of the shower balls naked and standing between two of his teammates saying, "Calm the fuck down," balls naked. And just eyeballing another guy into submission, and then going back into the shower to finish off his shower. You know, so he looks after it, like he looks after his crew, like
Class.
you know. But I don't think I can condone the trolley to the bus instinct.
No,
but,
no one can. But that's just sheer anger. That's just a fit of rage.
It's an Irish way. It's an Irish kind of.
It's an Irish mentality.
Yeah, it's an overreaction. Like he did keep that.
I don't think he expected the window to shatter.
No,
I don't think it would.
I think he was aiming for the side of the bus and he threw it too high.
Yeah. I think like anytime you see like a chair or anything like that being thrown at a bus, the glass cracks and then it's like it just bounces off and it's like it looks. I think that's what he was going for.
Like
I don't think
there was no way he went over there.
Shit.
There's no way he went over with the intention of getting glass in Ray Borg's eye, scaring the absolute shit out of Rose Namajunas. Like, how fucking stupid you have to be to have Pat Barry against you. You know what I mean? Like, scaring Pat Barry's missus. Like, that has to be one of the stupidest things you could ever do in your whole life. Like, I don't think he went to hurt anyone.
Have they even made up after that?
No.
Speaking of Rose, that fucking knockout was disgusting. We got dropped on her head. Her neck, I could just hear her going. But what was the other one?
Not against the rules.
Not at all. What was the very famous one? Was it Matt Hughes power slamming that guy? Knocked him out cold.
Griffin, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
Carlos Newton.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had the dreadlocks.
Yeah.
And he just power bombed and I was like, oh my God.
Well, actually, he didn't. He passed out himself. So Carlos Newton had a triangle on him and was hanging onto the side of the cage trying to survive. And
they both went out at the same time, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, like,
he said, stop holding the gate. John was like, stop holding the gate, stop holding the gate. And then
Matt passed out and fell down and hopped him off the floor in the process, like a kind of a last gasp attempt. And then Newton went out because his head hopped off the mat. And then Matt was the one that woke up first, and he won.
Yeah, that's the way it happened. Because I remember if you watch the fight that happened, he's just sitting there, kind of dazed for a second after. He's like, he's like, he's like, yeah. I think why we love this fucking sport, like.
And Carlos Newton never really made a comeback from there. He was like the GSP of his day, like.
Was he?
He was a dominant champion before that. Like Matt Hughes was no one.
No, not for that. No.
That was Matt Hughes' like, coming out party.
I actually cried. I teared up and cried at his inauguration, being brought into the ring. Remember that? That I welled up, man. Was there a car crash he was in or something? Or
he was hit by a train in his car. Yeah.
He was crossing a tracks in his 4x4 and a train just came along and T-boned him.
Fucking hell, man.
And they didn't expect him to live, but he pulled through. It's actually, the original content they have on Fight Pass, they have a whole episode dedicated to it.
Okay.
It's very strange. Because Matt Hughes was always a dick. He was always an absolute asshole. Like, you go back to the time when he was coaching on The Ultimate Fighter, and
smarmy, like just a smarmy kind of guy.
Yeah. And he used to give out to Rashad Evans himself, and Rashad Evans had a few run-ins when Rashad was just a kind of an upstart competitor on the thing. You get the impression watching it that his wife wasn't happy with him all those years. I don't know. Am I reading too much into it? Am I giving? Maybe this is controversial, but I think she was about to leave him.
Really?
I think so. That's the impression I got. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist now.
And the crash happened.
Crash happened, and then she stuck with him. that's because now he's all over her, because he needs her.
Yeah.
And fair play, she's stuck by him.
Yeah.
The kids are stuck by him, but I think he's a very, very lucky man that she did stick around because he was such a dick all those years.
Yeah. BJ Penn needs to retire.
Yeah, about 4 years ago. 9
losses, is it?
Yeah, but he's not getting beaten up.
Dude, still, he had such a legacy. Like, I remember at a stage where every morning I'd log on to these several websites. It would be Empire, Egotastic for my nip slips with celebrities, and then BJPenn.com for MMA news. It was the go-to place for a lot of people, I think. And you're like... I remember watching BJ win the title. I was like, when he blood and he says he wiped it all over his face. I was like, class.
He didn't evolve with the sport though.
Not at all.
He's extremely lazy.
It's something we talk about all the time. If you put Chuck Liddell in his prime now, or Rampage Jackson in his prime now, against any of the top 5 light heavyweights, they wouldn't stand a chance. The sport has evolved so much of how technical it gets, and it's down to coaching teams now. It's like a lot of them probably didn't even have decent coaches back in the day. They were just heavy hitters. Like, did you read Chuck's autobiography?
I haven't.
He's a beer gut.
I cannot read for entertainment, but that's another story. But anyway,
it's
you can't
sensational.
Hear, you
can't. He, like, before his fight against Tito 2, the night before, he was doing cocaine and banging prostitutes until about 6 a.m. Like,
yeah, it was a different world back then.
That's Chuck's life, though.
Yeah, and he was just a heavy hitter. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you put him in there, imagine John Jones would kill him. Like,
literally kill him.
Gus, Luke Rockhold, now that he's gone up, I'm excited to see him gone up to light heavyweight. They just wouldn't stand it. Yoel, fucking hell, yeah.
So Chuck Liddell came to Cork at one point to do a seminar in the MMA clinic. Yeah, back in the day.
clinic. Where was that?
Up in
it's by the airport, was it?
Dean's Grange, and like by Frankfield Industrial Estate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he came in. I was actually I had bought my ticket to go and do the seminar, and then I did my neck. I prolapsed the disc on my neck, so I had to sit and watch the seminar. But a friend of mine was charged with the task of. So it was the Cage Warriors brand that brought him over. They were the ones that brought him over, and this lad was given a credit card. I said, make sure he's not sober for the weekend. That was part of his agreement to come to Ireland. Is like, just keep me topped up.
Fuck.
So he's just that's what he does. He goes all over the world doing this, and he's still to this day. His name is still that big that he can go. He can land anywhere in the world and be drunk 24/7 because people will just buy him drink.
He's the real life version of Stone Cold, isn't he? Like that guy who go fight anyone, anywhere, anytime, beat anyone up, and be drunk doing it.
I remember watching the video of the training session up there, and literally most of it was just throwing over right hands over, and they used to hold the mats like this, and used to kind of.
And he was hitting a wicket cast pad.
Yeah, I remember that black and white one. I do remember that because you used to say, "Here's your pad." Do you throw seminars like that? Do you have people come over?
Yeah, well, we've had a few big names over the years.
I remember training with Coco from the Brazilian team years ago, doing BJJ.
Yeah,
and something happened to his daughter to leave. Like he had a whole schedule with you, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he happened the family so he had to leave.
Yeah. There was a blast from the past. I hadn't heard any name in a while now.
Go.
Yeah.
Gunnar to be down with you regularly now.
Gunnar Nelson's down last year. Yeah, Paddy Houlihan's been in a few times. Ash the Bash has been doing a few seminars. We had.
Is she still fighting? She's not.
No, she
injured herself, did she?
She had a brain bleed, so she had a subdural hematoma, and basically once you've had one of those, it's like it's not worth taking the risk of a possible severe brain injury. So she retired on that basis. We had a really cool guy in last year, Chris Houter. He's one of the Dirty Dozen. So you wouldn't have heard of him now from an MMA perspective, but he's one. The Dirty Dozen is the first 12 American black belts, basically, and he's number 5.
Nice in BJJ.
In BJJ. So he would be a direct student of one of the Machado brothers, Higan Machado. So Jean-Jacques Machado then is Joe Rogan's gi coach. I know Eddie Bravo is his no gi coach, but so there's a bit of lineage there. But Chris Houter he's an absolute savage. He's doing jiu-jitsu like 35 years. He was doing jiu-jitsu long before it was even a thing. Yeah, nobody knew what it was.
Neck like a tree trunk, was it?
Would
you see him as an unassuming guy that?
Yeah, he looks like he's actually an artist. He's a graphic designer and artist. And he's absolute.
Who could kill you?
He's insane. He's absolutely insane. We brought him to a sushi bar up on Barrack Street, and he started screaming American politics at the top of his head. Because how Americans speak louder than the rest of us. He's louder again. Like he's like at least 40 decibels higher, and he was just going through his world politics, and then suddenly there was a crowd around us just listening to him pontificate. That was mad. And we've got a lot of big names in there from time to time.
Is it you're told by John, this person's coming down, or you say, John, is anyone available to come down in June or July? How does it work?
Usually they're on a tour. You know, so Gunnar Nelson was just in Ireland. He just happened to have a few days spare. John put up a message in our group page and just say, look, he's available. Anyone want him? And then first come, first serve.
Nice.
Grab him as much as you can.
Yeah.
And he's one of the coolest dudes I've ever met.
Yeah.
He's so laid back. Like he looks like he just got out of bed all day long. you know, and yeah, absolute animal.
Yeah, nice. Do you want to give a shout out to anyone or promote anything before we go? Gym memberships.
Well, we're starting season 5 Women to Warrior on Monday morning at 6 a.m.
Nice.
So that should be fun. So
and with that, just price wise, it's a staggered price range. There's upfront. Is it a?
Yeah, it's it's is
it like a membership to the gym? Can they come in and train with
to the gym.
They can't come in and train or.
Women to Warrior is actually an Australian brand.
Okay.
So it comes from Australia. So Richie Cranny is the founder, and he's a Londoner who moved to Australia like 20 odd years ago. And he actually came up with this kind of idea that he was going to train somebody for 6 months, and he was only going to do it for one person, just because he wanted to get new people into the gym. And when he posted on his Facebook page, like 500 people wanted to be that one person. So that became season 1 of Women to Warrior. Nice. And now it's in 60 gyms across the world, including TriStar in that's where George St. Pierre trains. It's in AKA American Kickbox Academy, Albuquerque, New Mexico with Greg Jackson. Nice. All the major gyms have it now all over the world.
It's a great idea.
It's
so
unbelievable.
Good.
Yeah.
It makes MMA accessible to the average person.
Yeah.
Whereas previously, like, people would be thinking, you know, I have to be fit to do this. You don't. You just get on the mat. We make you fit. You know, it's going to make you fit. You're going to be stronger, healthier, fitter, more focused. You know, you're going to be up at 6 a.m. You're going to have the whole day ahead of you.
Awesome.
You know,
it straightens you out completely.
Yeah, it's unreal. So luckily, there was a guy. In Australia when they did it, they actually had it on one of the national networks. They had it on TV there, and it was like Big Brother over there. So every weekend, the guys that were in it were like household names. Luckily, a Cork guy was on the Australian.
Of course, of course. Like
so, he came back and he was visiting friends and family in Cork, and he just happened to drop by the gym. Said, "Look, I have a fight in a few weeks' time. I need to keep training. Can I train?" Yeah, of course you can. He introduced me to his coach. His coach came over, or his coach messaged me and said, "Would you be interested in doing a season in Cork?" I said, 100%. But if you're coming to Ireland and you don't have John Kavanagh back in your brand, you're wasting your time. So I literally handed it over to John Kavanagh, hoping that he'd give us a season back, and he did. He did.
Nice.
So it was that's how it landed here. But yeah, so it's it is a 6 month thing. It's not a kind of a general membership with us. It is something you have to commit to. You sign up. There's a few payment options that you can choose from, but you sign up and you put your money where your mouth is, and then we do the rest.
Is it if I don't turn up 3 or 4 times, like, look, man, it's not worth your while?
No, my sister Marlene is very persuasive, and she has been known to turn up at people's place of work if they miss a session.
That's good though.
She will kick their ass and get them into the gym.
You'd hate that. He'd fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Liam, we'll leave you go.
Awesome.
Guy, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
guys, subscribe, rate us. It makes a difference. Share. Liam Og Griffin, SBG Cork. Check him out. Women to Warrior. Check it out. You're a gentleman.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.